Jos Verstappen criticizes FIA over Max Verstappen's penalty. Jos Verstappen has strongly criticized the FIA for issuing a penalty to his son, Max Verstappen, over a comment he made during a pre-race press conference. In a candid end-of-season interview, Jos expressed frustration with the governing body's handling of the situation, calling the penalty childish and highlighting inconsistencies in its approach. He also suggested the FIA needs to introduce significant reforms to ensure fairness and professionalism in Formula One. The controversy unfolded during the Singapore Grand Prix when Max, expressing frustration over his car's performance, described the Red Bull RB20 as following a problematic setup change. This comment, made during an FIA press conference, led to a community service penalty under the sport's new guidelines aimed at addressing broader misconduct. Mekies expresses regret over Ricciardo's Ferrari F1 seat loss. Meanwhile, Racing Bull's team principal Mekies has expressed deep regret over the decision to drop Daniel Ricciardo from his F1 seat at Ferrari. Mekies reflected on the difficult choice, acknowledging the impact it had on Ricciardo's career and admitting that it was a tough but necessary decision for the team's future. Hamilton and Leclerc's title battle intensifies the rivalry between Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc is already heating up as both drivers battle for the championship. Vasseur, Ferrari's team principal, has weighed in with a bold and honest assessment of the growing internal rivalry, suggesting that the competition between the two drivers will only get more intense as the season progresses. Stay tuned for more updates as this season's F1 drama continues to unfold. And not to miss the latest news, don't forget to subscribe. Jos Verstappen criticizes FIA's inconsistent penalty decisions. Jos Verstappen has raised concerns over the FIA's inconsistent approach to penalties after his son Max Verstappen was handed a community service punishment for a comment made during a press conference. The penalty was served in Rwanda last week, sparking controversy across the paddock. The situation became even more contentious when Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, who used the same expletive in a later press conference, was only given a monetary fine, highlighting a clear discrepancy in the treatment of the two drivers. In response to this, Jos Verstappen questioned the FIA's decision-making process, pointing out the unequal treatment. Why did Max get a community service penalty for the word, while someone else received only a fine? The stewards don't seem to remember all the details, he said. I think there needs to be stricter rules in that area. Jos also criticized the FIA's approach as overly reactionary and lacking nuance. You can't impose a penalty every time someone says something. Formula One is an emotional sport, and emotions run high. Instead of making such a spectacle out of it, I would have taken the drivers aside and said, "Guys, watch your language." His comments highlight a growing frustration with how the FIA is handling disciplinary actions in Formula One and the need for clearer and more consistent regulations. Jos Verstappen criticizes FIA's handling of penalties and consistency in steward decisions. Jos Verstappen has continued to express his frustration with the FIA's handling of his son Max Verstappen's recent penalty, further criticizing both the public nature of the punishment and the inconsistency in the governing body's disciplinary actions. Reflecting on how the situation was handled, Jos pointed out that making such matters public only served to undermine the sport's credibility. To play it all out in the media like that is unnecessary. It just makes the sport look childish, he said. Jos also defended Max's use of the expletive, arguing that the word, which had led to the penalty, is commonly used in various cultures without malicious intent. It's not even considered offensive unless it's used to insult someone directly, he explained. The FIA needs to recognize the difference. By focusing on trivial matters, they're taking the raw emotion out of Formula One, which is part of what makes it so captivating. According to Jos, the FIA's actions are overblown and detract from the essence of the sport, where passion and emotion are integral to its appeal. Max Verstappen, too, expressed his irritation with the penalty, highlighting a broader issue of inconsistency in the stewards' decisions. The controversy surrounding the language issue was just one of many instances where Max felt the FIA had acted unjustly. Both Max and Jos Verstappen have been vocal in their criticism of the stewards' decision-making, particularly toward the end of the 2024 season. The Mexico City Grand Prix emerged as a key flashpoint in this ongoing frustration. Max Verstappen, who received time penalties during the race, openly questioned their fairness. He also took issue with the involvement of former F1 driver Johnny Herbert, who was serving as a steward for the event. Max suggested that Herbert's proximity to the paddock and his interviews with betting platforms raised concerns about impartiality. It's difficult to trust the fairness of the decisions when you see someone so active in discussions and media interviews influencing the process, Max remarked, casting doubt on the integrity of the stewarding system. The Verstappen's criticisms highlight a growing sense of discontent with how the FIA is managing penalties and stewarding decisions, especially as the season reaches its climax. With emotions running high and the stakes increasing, the debate over the FIA's disciplinary approach looks set to continue. Max and Jos Verstappen criticized the work of FIA stewards. Max Verstappen has expressed concern about the bias of some stewards, saying their close ties to paddock politics undermine their neutrality. Stewards who are strongly linked to paddock politics lose their impartiality. In the future, it would be better to have stewards with fewer connections to the sport, but who understand its nuances, Max said. Jos Verstappen backed his son, calling for a professional reform of the steward system. There should be more consistency. The same offense should carry the same punishment, but we haven't seen that this season. A permanent pool of stewards could provide that consistency, he added. Verstappen's criticism raises questions about fairness and objectivity in stewards' decision-making, which is becoming increasingly important in Formula One. Laurent Mekies regrets Daniel Ricciardo's departure from Racing Bulls. Laurent Mekies, team principal of Racing Bulls, has expressed regret over the dismissal of Daniel Ricciardo from the team during the 2024 Formula One season. Despite showing occasional flashes of brilliance, Mekies admitted that the team failed to consistently provide Ricciardo with the tools needed to succeed, leading to his premature exit. After a tough period at McLaren, Ricciardo rejoined the Red Bull family in 2023, taking a seat with Racing Bulls as part of his goal to return to the senior Red Bull racing team. While the 8-time Grand Prix winner displayed glimpses of his old pace, a consistent resurgence never materialized. Reflecting on Ricciardo's performances, Mekies pointed to standout races in Miami, Canada, and others as proof of the Australian's enduring speed. The question we've been asked the most is, can Daniel still produce the ultimate speed we've seen? I think he has, on a few occasions, produced that ultimate speed that took him to race wins in the past, Mekies said. However, he emphasized that achieving such performance consistently across an entire season is what defines success in Formula One, something neither Ricciardo nor the team could manage together. Mekies admits shortcomings in supporting Ricciardo at Racing Bulls. Laurent Mekies acknowledged the team's failure to consistently help Daniel Ricciardo perform at his best, admitting that the biggest challenge for both drivers and teams is not being fast just once, but maintaining that speed across every race. For the team, as for the drivers, the biggest difficulty is not being fast one day. It's being fast in every race. Did we manage to keep Daniel in that sweet spot often enough? No, that's the reality, Mekies admitted. I raised my hand, and we raised our hands as a team because we have a big part to play in it. And this led to what happened. Despite the struggles on track, Mekies was quick to highlight Ricciardo's vital contributions behind the scenes. He praised the Australian's technical feedback and race-winning experience, which proved invaluable in both car development and helping his teammate Yuki Tsunoda. Ricciardo's insights were instrumental in guiding the team through tough moments, even though his on-track results didn't always reflect his immense value to Racing Bulls. Mekies reflects on Ricciardo's influence at Racing Bulls and looks ahead to 2025. Laurent Mekies highlighted the significant impact Daniel Ricciardo had behind the scenes at Racing Bulls, particularly in terms of his technical feedback and race-winning mentality. There was a huge benefit for the team and for Yuki in terms of Daniel's technical feedback, the direction of the car, and his race-winning approach, Mekies said. Having somebody who knows how it is in a team that wins races and fights for championships sets the benchmark. Ricciardo's experience was invaluable, especially as the team worked to improve and aim for better results. Mekies also noted that Yuki Tsunoda, who formed a productive relationship with Ricciardo, had absorbed much of the Australian's knowledge. as Tsunoda steps into a leadership role at Racing Bulls for the 2025 season. Ricciardo's influence may leave a lasting legacy within the team. Looking ahead, Racing Bulls will enter 2025 with a reshaped driver lineup. Tsunoda will lead the team, joined by 2024 Formula 2 runner-up Isaac Jar. Meanwhile, Ricciardo's midseason replacement Liam Lawson has been promoted to Red Bull Racing, where he will partner Max Verstappen following Sergio Perez's departure. Ferrari to unveil star-studded lineup for 2025 season. Meanwhile, Ferrari is set for a seismic shift with the arrival of seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, who will join Charles Leclerc in a star-studded driver lineup for the 2025 Formula One season. Hamilton, having activated an exit clause to leave Mercedes, is embarking on a new chapter at Maranello, where he will replace Carlos Sainz, whose contract Ferrari opted not to extend. The pairing of Hamilton and Leclerc raises the prospect of internal rivalry, with both drivers hungry for championship glory. Hamilton, aiming to secure a record-breaking 8th World Championship, and Leclerc, determined to lead Ferrari back to the top of Formula One, will undoubtedly bring added excitement and intrigue to the Scuderia's 2025 campaign. Ferrari targets title double in 2025. Vasseur embraces rivalry between Leclerc and Hamilton. Ferrari heads into the 2025 season with momentum after a strong 2024 campaign, where the team secured second place in the constructors' standings and claimed 5 race wins, 3 by Charles Leclerc and 2 by Carlos Sainz. Team principal Fred Vasseur has made Ferrari's ambitions clear, stating that the ultimate goal for the Scuderia in 2025 is to clinch both the drivers' and constructors' titles. When asked about the potential challenge of managing a rivalry between his 2 superstar drivers, Leclerc and the newly joined Lewis Hamilton, Vasseur welcomed the prospect, highlighting that internal competition could propel Ferrari to new heights. In an interview with Sky F1, Vasseur dismissed concerns about handling a title feud, saying such competition is a sign of progress for the team. "I prefer to fight for 1-2 than for 19-20. This is clear. It's also part of the performance," Vasseur said. "Clearly, the last 2 years I let them race on track, and it was for the benefit of the team because the emulation that we created like this was part of the recovery when we had tough times." Vasseur also stressed the importance of the mutual respect between Leclerc and Sainz, which he believes has been a crucial factor in Ferrari's resurgence. "They had huge respect between them, and we had a good moment this morning with the father of Carlos Sainz at Fiorano for his farewell. It was very nice. It's part of the performance of the team," he added. With the dynamic pairing of Leclerc and Hamilton set to take on the 2025 season, Ferrari's internal rivalry promises to fuel the team's ambitions as they chase the elusive title double. So, we've discussed the highlights of the latest developments in Formula One, from Jos Verstappen's criticism of the FIA to Ferrari's ambitious plans for 2025. Do you think the internal competition between Leclerc and Hamilton will be good for Ferrari, or will it lead to tension within the team? And what do you think of the FIA stewards' decisions in recent months? Write your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. See you soon and stay tuned for more episodes. There are many more interesting topics to come. Bye.